you, thanks for joining me. So I'm here with part 2 of my Easy Basic Journal kind of series. So we made these covers in a very, very basic form, which is great for a beginner journal or a quick project. Now, a couple of people said that their cardstock split, okay? Now this one here of mine split. That's because I've used a file folder that's not necessarily good quality card. These ones that I've done on cardstock that I know is excellent quality haven't. So it will happen depending on the quality of your cardstock. Okay, now if you find that it's happening, one thing you can try is, if you're using my images for example, or any other images, instead of gluing it to the whole surface before you score, cut your card, score it, and then add your images in panels. So add a front panel, then cut a layer and glue the spine on, then cut a layer and glue the back on, and same inside, rather than just one full piece. Then it's less stress on the spine when you're scoring if you've not got good quality card, okay? Doesn't matter what card you use, this is just a beginner journal, don't stress it too much. So today we're going to put some signatures together. Okay, now I'm going to be doing a video about terminology used in journal making so that everybody knows what's what and what means what. Okay, so a signature is just a collection of pages that you put together, and basically a bundle of pages is a signature. Okay, now in traditional book binding, they generally do about 6 or 8 pages, and then will sew all of the signatures together internally using Copic stitch or some other fancy binding. We're doing it very basic, okay? So we're going to do just one signature. Now a signature can be as few or as many pages as you like, okay? But if you come to one of the ones where you're sewing the signature, then you don't want to go above about between 10 and 15, otherwise it's going to be difficult to sew. That's the only limitation. Other than that, you can do what you want, how you want. So what you want to do is grab yourself a bundle of paper. Now this can be anything. I've got dictionary pages, and I've got some paper bags. I like to put paper bags in. These are some digitals of coffee dyed papers, okay? These are just plain coffee dyed digitals. So when I've done my coffee dyeing, I've saved them so that I can just print them through the winter when I need them. I've got some vintage music paper, so these have been picked up in a charity shop. I've got some ledger paper that I've got from an old ledger book, okay, and then I've got some decorative book pages from books that I've collected from charity shops. So these are Edith Holden, which is a popular one, and then this one is another one that's quite popular whose name I've forgotten. And just remove the pages and use them. So have a look in your car boot sales, your charity shops, your thrift stores, wherever you find old things, and use the books. Don't be worried about taking them apart. Any that are in charity shops and places like that don't get sold end up in landfill. So you're not doing any harm, you know, or destroying books. We're reusing them, repurposing them, and recycling them, and giving them a new lease of life. So don't worry about it. Don't think, oh, I can't pull that book apart. You can, because all you're doing is moving the beauty from the book to your journal. You're not removing the beauty, you're just repurposing it. So this is a digital, again, that I've got from somewhere. I've printed on the back. This one's like another one that I did, and ledger paper. So just a collection, you can use anything, okay? So then what you want to do is literally measure your book. Now we've done these quite small. So they are 5 by about 6 1/4, 6 3/4. So you don't want your pages sticking out, okay? So we're going to cut our pages to about 4 3/4, under 5, so that they're not sticking out. Okay, if you want them sticking out, you can. There's no journal law says you can't. You can do what you want. So the easiest way to do it is to just get your sheets, whether they're letter size, A4, whatever, and fold them in half first, okay? So I've trimmed mine so they're quite straight, and gently fold. You don't need to do a massive big deep crease. Okay, it's not necessary, but you can if you want. I just gently crease them with my fingers. Okay, this one's still got a white edge. I'm just going to trim that off. Now, it doesn't matter if your pages aren't all the same size. In fact, it adds interest if you have some that are shorter and thinner than the others. They don't have to all be exactly the same, okay? You can add in doilies, guest checks, envelopes. You can put anything in a signature, okay? So I'm going to do one, and then I'll go away and I will fold the rest and cut them all to size, okay? And then we're going to do our 3 different kinds of binding. So I'm just literally folding, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put something of interest in and between plain pages, okay? Every page doesn't have to be fancy. You can if you want, but it doesn't have to be. Every page doesn't have to be plain, but you can do. It's up to you, because you can decorate with stamps, you can decorate with stencils, you can hand draw, you can paint, you can do so much, okay? There's absolutely no right or wrong. So that page there's got birds on, so I'll put that in one that's... Now this, I'm just going to fold that way. So as you can see, it's far smaller than my other pages. It doesn't matter, okay? Now that's not really got much interest. But I'll save it, and I might use it for backing ephemera. This one's got another lovely bird on, so we'll save that. This one's got more birds on, so, you know, I might put these in the one with a bird on. And then these are nature themed, so I'm just going to fold them for now, and then I'll cut them to size, okay? Let's have this one. This one's nice, okay? Right, so we'll have a couple of plain ones. All right. Now, if you don't have a guillotine or a trimmer, there's absolutely no reason you can't cut your pages with scissors, or just get a ruler and literally rip the pages to the size that you want, okay? I'm going to have a bag, and I'm going to have some dictionary page in mine. Okay, all of these you can write on. Okay, there's absolutely no reason not, or stick other things on, or whatever. You've just got to check if you're using dictionary. It's all in French anyway, that it's not got any inappropriate language on. Okay, so I'm going to do this one, okay? Natural history. I'll do this first. So I'm going to get myself a bundle of 10 pages. So I want that one. I like that one. I'll have a plain one there. I'll have a plain one in between those patterned. I'll have some coffee dye. Put that in the middle. What else have I got? Dictionary page. I'll have a dictionary page. I'll have that in there. I can have a paper bag. And just arrange them until you like the order that they're in. There's no right or wrong. Okay, absolutely not. So the paper bag, I've cut the bottom off. Just going to fold it in half. And these are good because it's like a little pocket, a ready-made pocket for people to put things in. Okay, if you're a long-standing journaler, none of this is new, but these videos are aimed to help anybody get started with journal making. So how many pages have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm aiming for 10. I want to save those for that other one. 7. Let's have another one of the paper. 8. Let's have another one of those. 9. And I'll have another coffee dyed patterned one. 10. Now 10 sheets of paper. Okay, 1 sheet of paper makes 4 pages because you fold it in half. Okay, and that's a page, that's a page, that's a page, and that's a page. So although you've only got 10 sheets, you've actually got a 40-page journal. Okay, now like I say, you can add more if you want. I like to, with this little one here, I think that's going to be enough because then you've got room See how you've still got a bit of room there? You've got room then if you want to decorate those pages with pockets and ephemera, okay? If you had it too wide with, let's just go a bit mad to demonstrate, and have loads and loads of pages, and it starts getting too thick and bulky, then your cover's going to go like that, and you're not going to have room for any decorative elements, okay? So less is always more. You can always just judge it and have a think, but I think 10. I might just put 2 more plain ones in. So when I'm printing, the plain ones I just do on lightweight copy paper. Any that are digital with fancy digitals on, I'll do on 120, but lightweight copy paper is perfectly fine, and it makes for good writing paper. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look, and I'm going to just, I don't want an exactly same one next to each other, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, bear with me 1 minute. Just shutting my craft room door because it's weekend, so there's people about. Right, so there's my bundle. That is a signature. A signature is just a bundle of pages. So now I just need to make them fit. So all I need to do is go away and trim that down. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to fold the rest of my pages. I'm going to trim them to size. Now I trim them to size. I do it the long way, okay? And I will trim each page to size individually, because I might decide I want some shorter. Whereas if I just grab hold of them like that and cut them, then they're all the same size and I'm done. And another reason that I cut them individually is because sometimes when you're cutting a wad of pages like this with just a knife and a ruler, you can slip. Okay, and also because you've got the bulk there, you can still end up where they're not even. All right, and then you end up with them where they go on a slant like that, like a wedge. All right, so I just think it's easier to get, and you get a better look if you do them page by page. So if you don't have a trimmer, you can just literally, let me just grab one to show you. If you just fold your page, okay, you can literally put your ruler on there like that, and you can just rip. Okay, now if you get a tatty edge and you don't like it, you can tidy it up with scissors. I don't mind the tatty edges, especially when I'm doing a vintage style. I think it adds interest and it looks pretty cool, but even that's a little bit raggedy for me, so I will then just fluff them out and I'll just trim it with my scissors. Okay, the other option you can use is a decal edge ruler, which gives you that ripped edge in a bit more of a controlled way, or like I say, use your scissors or a trimmer. Okay, right, so I will be back once my signatures are ready, and then we're going to bind them 3 different ways. Okay, so we've got our bundles of pages, our signatures. Okay, now I'm going to show you the most easiest one first. Now this one, I probably could get away with doing more signatures, but with this method, with more pages, I beg your pardon, but with this method you can add more pages easily. Okay, so all you're going to do is, you've got your set of pages. Okay, you've got them fairly neat, and these we're going to twine bind. So string, twine, crochet thread, absolutely anything. And this is really good for beginner journalers because you don't need any special anything. Okay, so what you want to do is cut yourself a piece that is probably going to wrap round all the way and then just double it. Okay, if we cut a bit off, it's no bigger. Okay, it's just twine, it's inexpensive. You can use parcel string, you can use absolutely anything, so long as that when you pull it like that, when you're going to tie it in a knot, it doesn't snap. All right. Okay, another really good way is elastic. Okay, because then it's stretchy. The reason I'm not using elastic on this one is because it's got a black spine and I don't have any black elastic. Okay, just black elastic would look better. So if you're looking for elastic, this is 1.3mm thick elastic. Okay, it's strong enough, but it's not too wide. Otherwise, when it sits in your pages, if you were to use, you know, a great big massive, I don't know, knicker elastic or something, or like you put in the waistband of clothes, it's going to be too wide. So you want nice thin elastic. So this is 1.3mm. It's not expensive. You know, you can get it online, your local haberdashers, wherever. Don't pay too much for it. This kind of thing you can pick up in your local craft shop. You can get bigger rolls online. You can get it anywhere. Parcel tape, get it from your local post office or pound shop or Dollar Tree, wherever. Now, all you have to do is get your bundle of pages. Now, I find it easier if I clip them together. Okay, and then they're not all falling out when I'm trying to bind them. And you literally put your twine through. Now, you can do it two ways. You can either have it so that your tie is on the outside, okay, or you can do it that way and feed it through the holes first and tie it in the centre of this signature. I actually like the strings down the spine, so I'm going to go into the middle, to the middle of my signature here, okay. You can pull it away loose whilst you thread this through the eyelets. So I showed you how to do this in the first video when we did the covers, how to do the eyelets. Okay, if you don't have the metal eyelets, just make a hole, it's fine, and use office grade paper reinforcers. Can I grab some quickly to show you? Here we are, like these. If you can't get hold of these, get some cardstock, punch a small hole, and then go over with a bigger circle punch and punch a larger hole, and that will reinforce them the same and glue them on. There's always a way to do everything if you don't have exactly what other people have. And then all you're doing is you're just going to pull that tight, get your strings kind of level. You're going to pull it tight, okay. And you're literally just going to tie it in a knot or a bow, and that will hold those pages in. Now, don't pull it too tight where it's digging into your signature, okay. The idea of these is that you can add and remove the signature if you so desire, so it's kind of half loose, but it's also going to hold it in place so that they're not falling out, okay. So that is one really easy method, and it's great when you're a beginner because it gets you a really cool look, but also you can obviously, now that's, I've tied that a little bit tight. Can you see how it's pulling my signature down? So I'm just going to loosen it. Just going to loosen it. I'm going to pull my signature up so it's in the centre and then re-pull my strings. And this is another reason why it's good for beginners, because you can readjust it, okay? Because you want your signature to be level with your book cover. So if you pull your twine too tight, it won't be, okay? Probably could have done with trimming a little bit more off my pages, but it's fine, we can work with it, okay? There we go. So like I say, this is good because you can readjust. Okay, let me just push that down a bit. There we go. Tie it. Keep those pages in the middle. And then tie it in a bow. And you can have a play with it however tight or loose you want it, but basically it means that you can get hold of all of those pages and you can remove them if you so desire, okay? And you can add extra. If you decide that you've got room, like here, this book would take more pages, we can add some more, all right? And don't forget that as you add your ephemera and your pockets and things, it will grow and it won't move about. And if you only tie it in a knot and a bow, you can adjust it, Okay, it'll even move up and down. So if you decide you want it a little bit tighter, when you're finished, go back and tighten it. You can hang dangles and all sorts of things off of there. So twine or elastic binding via eyelets. No sewing involved. Really great for a first beginner journal. And your pages will turn lovely. And it's a nice little way to start. Okay, so the next one. So the next easiest one is what I call the gluing method. Okay, now you can sometimes end up where if you've got plenty of space, you might be able to do 2 signatures. So what I do is I'm going to clip all of my pages together. Okay, get them all nice and neat and lined up, clip them either side. Now, because it's a thin signature, I wouldn't do it with a thick signature with more than 10. I think I've got about 12 in here. You can literally run that through a sewing machine, okay? And if you go slowly, it's fine. The other thing you can do is you can manually do a running stitch, okay? In, out, all the way up, or the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm going to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, okay? So I'm just going to grab my tools and then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm using crochet thread. It's nice and strong. I'm going to, am I going to double it over? Let me see how strong it is. Right, that's not easily breakable, so I'll be fine. So I'm going to go with 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go with 4 lengths of my book. Okay, it's a guesstimate. It's better to have too much than not enough. Now you can use crochet thread, you can use your wax linen thread if you like, which a lot of journalers use. I find it quite expensive. Crochet thread's cheaper, or embroidery floss. I also use dental floss, which is very cheap and it's very strong. You need to find yourself a needle with a nice sharp point and a large eye that you're comfortable using. Okay, needs a large eye because we're using thicker than just your general, you know, thread. Okay, so it is better if you double it over. I'm not going to double it over because it's only a small book with a small thin signature. All right, so what we're doing here, we're not putting any holes in this cover. We'll do that in the next one. We're just going to sew these pages together. Now, if you can't follow the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, go back to your school days, or if you went to brownies or guides like I did, you should know how to do a simple running stitch, which is literally in, out, in, out, in, out, and then go back the other way and fill in the gaps. Knot it at the end. You're just sewing it together, okay? Now, for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you need 3 holes. Now, I do like to measure mine. Okay, where's my ruler gone? Here we are. So what I do is I will go to your very centre page. You've got a foam mat or something soft, and I'll book something that you can stab into without hurting your desk. So I'm looking for roughly the centre. Now, this is 6 3/4. So I'm just going to do it by eye. I'm going to move my ruler up to, I'm looking for the 8, and I want 1/2 inch that side, about 1/2 inch that side. So I'm using my ruler to help me find the centre. So the centre of there is about 4, because I've gone up to the 8 and I'm eyeballing it here. You can do 6 3/4, divide it by 2, and we'll do it properly. So 6 3/4, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it's going to be 3 3/8. So 3 and 1 2 3. So there's the very centre, 3 3/8. So you literally measure your pages, divide it by 2, you're finding the centre. So mine's 3 3/8. Now, if it's not exact, you know, it's not a maths exam, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're just looking for basically just dividing it into 3 sections. Okay, make a mark. So the best way to do the holes to get them so that that hole is on that crease, comes out at that side on the crease, is to just have in all your pages clipped together, just gently have them at an angle like that. Then find your mark that you made and then press down, okay, and all the way through. And can you see how it's come through on the fold? Okay, sometimes if you don't have them like that and you don't have them clipped, you'll go through the other side and you'll be here, okay, or over here. You want to try and keep it on that bend. All right, so that's the first one done. So then you want to go from the top edge. I like to come down about 1 inch, but you could do 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch. In fact, I'm going to do 3/4 inch, I think, because they're only small pages. I'm going to do 3/4 inch. There, I'm going to make a mark. And then I'm going to go the other side and do the same. Okay, so there, 3/4 inch, I've made a little mark. I'm lifting it up again, encouraging that bend, and I'm pressing. I'm pressing. Okay, and your holes should be on their bend at the other side. Now, when you're new, I'd advise that you go back and go back through the hole, okay, and make sure that you are coming out the other end the same. Okay, now if you have your pages clipped together, they won't move, okay, and that will help you. So then you're going to get your thread. You want quite a long tail on your thread so that it doesn't come out when you're halfway through. And you're going to start from the middle of the book, and you're going to start with the middle hole, and you're going all the way through the middle hole, okay. Pull it through, okay, but leave a very long tail, okay. Then when you're through the other side, you're going to go up to the top hole, and you're going to find the hole, okay, and you're going to put your needle through. And because you've held all your pages together with clips, your needle will come through there, through the hole that you've made, okay. So pull it through, okay. Don't pull this tail all the way through. Then just check the other side, make sure you're not in a knot or nothing's twisted. Now this is one reason why I've only done one, you know, I've not doubled the thread over, because when you're new, when you double the thread over, you can get tangled until you've got experience. As you're more experienced and more confident, always double your thread over. So you've got 2 rows of thread. It just makes it stronger. So then when you've come back through to the centre of your pages from the top, you want to lift your thread up, okay, so that it's going over the top of the tail, and you're going down to the bottom, and you're pulling it through the other side. Okay, there's no need to pull it tight at this time. In fact, it's almost better to have this loose so you can lift it out of the way. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to go back through that centre hole. Now when you're going back through it, move that thread out of the way so that you don't want your needle going into this thread here, because it'll split it and you'll get in a knot. So you want to go back through. Okay, it's going to come through there. All right, so there's where we went down, there's the tail, there's the needle, making sure you're not catching any of the other threads, okay, or else you'll get in a knot. And then push up, and then pull away. So then you've got a tail at this side, underneath of this centre bit, and a tail at the other side. And then gently pull. Okay, gently pull, not too hard, you don't want to rip your pages, but it wants to be nice and firm. Then you want to tie it in a knot, and this is designed to, you know, not necessarily come undone, it's to make them fixed. So make sure it's nice and firm, make sure it's nice and straight, and make sure you don't go into other bits of the tails like that with your needle when you're pulling it through, okay? It's very, very fiddly for your first go, but once you've done maybe 2 journals or 2 signatures like this, you will just absolutely, you'll be able to do it with your eyes shut, I promise you. It just comes with practice. Now these tails, you can either leave them long, put dangles on them, whatever. I just generally tie them in a bow and leave them alone. Okay, now if you don't want to see that thread, if you don't like it, then what you can do is you can turn this page into a pocket by folding it in half and then gluing on two sides. That will hide your sewing. That's another idea. I don't mind it, I like it. Okay, so now that's done for the glue method, and I've made a bit of a boo-boo really because this is going to end up getting glued and I wanted to see the birds. Never mind, you live and learn. So your first page wants to be something that you don't mind hiding. Okay, I've made a bit of a boo-boo here. I should have a plain page there. Because what we're going to do is we're going to attach the signature by creating a pocket. Now you can just glue it like that if you like, but I prefer to make a pocket. So I'm going to just fold it over like so. Okay. And I'm going to turn that into a shallow pocket. I'm going to glue this bit down. And I'm doing it very, very quickly to just demonstrate, okay? I normally spend a lot more time doing it. So I'm going to fold that over so that's a nice strong pocket that's not going to rip when you're putting things in and out. And then all you have to do is glue on the sides. And then glue across there, right? Not right on the fold, just after it. Then you can line that up in the centre, and you can, or towards the folds better, to be honest. Yeah, you actually got room for another signature there. And then you just attach that, okay? And that has bound your signature into your book. Leave it to dry, okay? Make sure it's even top and bottom. Just close the signature up, make sure it's not protruding, and make sure that it's nice and flush. And that is attached to your journal. Now, there's room there for another signature, okay? So what you can do is make another bundle of pages, sew them, and exactly the same as how I've just attached that to that cover. That's just slipped ever so slightly. It's not straight. Just bear with me. There we go. As I've glued that on three sides to the cover, you can do the same onto this page here, and then you can have another signature. And then the last page of your signature, you fold it over, turn it into a pocket, or you could have it that long, glue on three sides, and that will glue it into your book. I'm not going to glue this because I can see that there's quite a big gap there, so I will make another bundle and I will do that. But that is a very easy way to glue pages into a book if you don't want to sew it through the spine. So that's technique 2. Yeah, I will definitely make another bundle of 10 pages and add that to that booklet. Okay, so the third way, all right, is the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but we're going through the cover. Now I've added an eyelet there because I want to add a little charm when I've done this one. So it's the same principle, all right? The only difference being that we're going to go all the way through the book and we're going to sew the pages to the book. This is the same principle when you're more advanced and you're doing more advanced covers, which I'm going to show you in another video of how to do more advanced covers, okay? And also sewing in multiple signatures. We're just doing one. And also I will show you at some point how to do it so that you're sewing your signatures into a spine, which you can then hide so the sewing's not showing. Okay, but you've got to start with the basics and master those before you move on when you're learning. That's how I learned. You know, you can't run before you learn to walk. Okay, it's really important that you get used to doing the basics before, otherwise you'll think, well, you know, this journaler here can do this, why can't I do it? Probably because they've done their practicing. They could have been at it for years you know, and you're not going to be able to do exactly what they can do straight off the bat. So you have to work your way up. I mean, some people can master it straight away. Of course they can. I didn't. It took me a long while to get it right. So what you do here, you're doing the same. Now, the quickest way to do it is to line everything up at the same time. And what we're going to do, I'm just trying to think of the easiest way to show you so that you're not getting it wonky. Okay, I know how to do it. I know how to show you. See, I can do it by eye, but teaching's a different thing. So we're going to find the centre again. So these pages are 6.5. So I'm going to go to 3 1/4 and I'm going to make a mark. And then I'm going to go, because I know I've got my charm at the top there, I'm going to go in. Let me just think how far I need to go in. Yeah, I'm all right with 3/4 inch. So I'm going to measure 3/4 inch from the top. Make a mark. I'm not going all the way through, I'm just making a mark. And 3/4 inch from the bottom. And make a mark. Don't put it all the way through yet though. And you can make a mark with a pencil or a pen. Then again, reinforce that bend so those pages are nice and sturdy. Make sure they're straight. Double check you've got everything. If you've got something that's in a certain direction, check you've got it, not got it anything in upside down before you start. Okay, and then clip them together. Because I've done it. I've sewn complete signatures in upside down and had to take it all apart and start again. Right, so let me just get that a little bit. You want it nice and snug, so all of those, can you see how they're nicely snugly into each other? Nicely and snugly. Again, with your pages slightly bent. And this is why you'll see some people with like a cradle that's like a V and they stick the signatures in because it holds it at a V like that. Because if you're too flat, can you see how those pages are lifting up? So then they're not going to be lined up. If you put it in a V, then it's nice and snug and they're lined up and you're going to be more accurate getting your holes onto the bend part where the fold is. So find your mark and press. Same up here, keep it in a V. Find your hole and press. And then up here in a V, find your hole and press. Go back through the other side. Make sure you're fairly accurate. We're fairly accurate there. We're on the bend. I'm going to go and I'm going to reinforce that hole. Okay. When you're using sharp things, just be careful. Okay. Right. So now a really easy way to get that lined up, you can quite easily see those 3 holes there. Okay. If you've poked through one side, then poke through the other, you'll be able to see them. Line it up with your journal. Now you're aiming for the centre of that spine. If you're not sure what the centre is, draw yourself a line. Okay, let me get a pencil and draw a line. So this spine is, what is it, an inch? Let me have a look. 1, 2, 3. It's 3/4 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 6/8. So if I count 3, 1, 2, 3/8. That's the centre. It's 3/8. So I can see, because mine's got grids, I can see where 3/8 is. 1, 2, 3 there. Where's my spine? There's no harm in putting pencil marks all over the place if you need to. You can always rub them out. Okay, and then I'm going to draw myself a line. The more experienced you get, you won't need it. You'll just be able to do it by eye, and you'll just learn that it doesn't matter if it's not perfect as well, is the main thing. So I've got some directional pages here with writing on. So I'm checking my front cover. I'm checking my pages to make sure I've got everything not upside down. That's a little bit, I think that page is upside down. but I've done my holes and everything's lined up, so I'm not going to move it. If something's upside down now, it's upside down. It's not the end of the world. You can always cover it, stick something over the top of it. So again, I'm going to get myself a length. And I'm not making any apologies if this video is long, because I want to show you so that you can do it if you're new. Okay? I don't care if it's long. Okay. Excuse my bad hand-eye coordination. I've got like the biggest eye on that needle that you could have, and I'm still struggling. But that's because my eyes are... I think my eyes were sewn in wrong. Right. So now what you want to do, now you've got that line to show you. Which way up is my book again? Keep forgetting which way up it is. It's that way. So you can really easily see those. You've got your line there. Okay. So line it up top to bottom so that you've got the same gap top and bottom, and so it's straight. And where you can see those holes there, do yourself a little line on your guide. There's one. Okay. There's two, and there's three. If you don't take time to line it up, okay, then you'll end up with your pages sewn in like that or like that. Okay, so just take time, double check it, and then make your holes right in there, and where's my third hole? Oh, can't think. It's there. Is that it? Yeah. I can't tell if that's it or that's it. That's a mark in the digital. There. Okay. So there we go. So again, double check which way up your pages are. That way. Yeah. Okay. Check, double check. And then you're going to sew the whole thing together in the same method. So you're going through the centre, okay, of the pages, leaving a long tail. Then, and it doesn't matter if it's all slack and, you know, not tight to start with, leave it as slack as you can. Go through the middle of the book cover, okay? Don't pull it all the way. Okay, we don't need to just now, and make sure that this tail's nice and long. Then we're going up to the top, just the same as I showed you before, but we're going through the book cover and the signatures at the same time. Okay, pull that through. Okay, make sure you're not pulling your tail. Okay, it doesn't need to be tight just now. We will tighten it up at the end. Okay, then get your signature. Oops, I'm banging the camera. And go through the top of your signature. Okay. Keep your threads out of the way. Pull it through. Okay. Now at this stage, don't even pull it tight on there, because if you can see the holes here, it will make it easier for you. As you're more experienced, you'll be able to do it with it pulled tight. Again, this thread here wants to lay over the top of this tail. Okay. And we're going through the bottom. Okay, pull it all the way and then put it through your cover. All right. Okay, now at this point, just grab that tail from inside and pull it. It's going to pull your signature just ever so slightly closer to your book cover. Okay, so from here, we're going back through that centre hole, making sure we're not catching any of this thread here. We don't want our needle going through any of that thread. It will give you a knot. Okay, pull it all the way through, and this is why we're not pulling it tight yet, because it means that you can then see that hole. Okay, so then you want to go back through the middle hole, and if you push your needle straight rather than at an angle, you should easily catch that hole. Can you see that we're there back through the middle? And then what you want to do is just grab and make sure that the needle comes through with this one underneath it. And then pull. And pull towards the back. So you've got one thread under, the middle one over, and this one to the back. Okay, so it's at this point that you can start and gently pull them threads tighter, and that will just pull the whole signature close to the spine of the book. Okay, and if you pull that way, you won't rip your paper. Yeah, rather than that way, you might rip that hole. Pull that way, firmly but carefully, and do it a little bit at a time. Okay, turn it over, have a look at your spine. That's nice and neat, we're happy with that. Okay, check that it's quite close to the book there, it's not all baggy and gapey, we're happy with that. Check before you tie anything that it's all lined up here and we've not got a big gap, it's close to the book cover, happy with that. And then just close it and have a look, is it lined up nicely top and bottom? Because if it's not, you can always take the threads out and do it again. Okay, oh, my camera's slipped, sorry, let me put it back. If it's not, you can always take that out and do it again because you've not tied it in a knot. Okay, so when you're happy with it, again, just gently tug and then tie it in a knot and a bow. Okay, however you tie a knot or a bow. I'm probably look like I'm doing it with boxing gloves on. I'm a bit fingers and thumbs. There is a Yorkshire saying, but I won't say it on YouTube. Okay, now even at this stage, I'm not double knotting that because if I wanted to undo it, it's going to make it easier. If you're not happy with how it sits, all you've got to do is snip these threads and it will all come undone. Okay, and there you've got your 3-hole pamphlet stitch journal. Okay, have I missed a page? I've not tucked that page in before I've sewn it. Never mind. Okay, and you've got all of your signatures and it's nice and neat and all of those pages are in lovely. Okay, and then all you've got to do is decorate. It's easy to start with just one signature and get used to that first before you start doing multiples. So we've got the 3-hole pamphlet stitch on the spine. We've got the glued page method. We can add an extra signature there if you've followed my measurements, and you've still got a space in that spine for another signature. So do it the same, glue it on. And then we've got our lovely, very simple twine or elastic binding. So those are the 3 easiest basic methods, and most journal creators, even the advanced ones, simply do this method, the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, either through the spine or in the hidden method, which I'm going to show you on another video. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry that the camera went a little bit skew with, but I think we got it all in shot. So you've got everything you need between these 2 videos to create 3 small journals over the weekend. Just go and have some fun, get some practice, and then we'll get more advanced as the videos go. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.